What happens when the tables finally turn? When the ones who thrived on manipulation, control, and cruelty suddenly find themselves powerless, while those they hurt rise stronger than ever. In 2026, something shocking is happening, a massive shift in energy that nobody saw coming. Narcissists are facing their downfall, and empaths, the ones who have always felt deeply, loved harder, and forgiven more than anyone else, are stepping into a power they never knew they had. But here's the thing. This isn't just about revenge or justice. It's about transformation, awakening, and a rise so powerful it leaves everyone stunned. Imagine watching someone who used to control your life struggle while you stand tall, glowing, and untouchable. That's the reality unfolding right now, and it's only going to get more intense. If you're ready to see how the hidden energy of empaths is changing everything, you don't want to miss what's coming next. So stick around until the end, and don't forget to comment your thoughts below, because what you're about to see might just change the way you see yourself and everyone around you. 2026 is shaping up to be a year unlike any other. A year where the balance of power is dramatically shifting, and those who were once underestimated are finally stepping into their full potential. For years, narcissists have thrived in the shadows of manipulation, control, and charm, exploiting the kindness and empathy of others without facing real consequences. They relied on fear, guilt, and deception to maintain their dominance, believing that their influence was untouchable. But the tides are turning, and in ways that are both subtle and undeniable. Empaths, the quiet observers, the ones who have felt deeply, healed silently, and absorbed more pain than anyone should ever endure, are awakening to a power that comes not from control, but from understanding, emotional intelligence, and inner strength. This power shift isn't sudden chaos, it's a natural, inevitable correction. Those who sought to manipulate are now encountering boundaries they cannot cross, awareness they cannot bypass, and resilience they cannot break. Empaths are learning to trust their intuition like never before, recognizing toxic patterns almost instantly, and refusing to allow themselves to be drawn into the games of the past. With this awareness comes freedom, the freedom to reclaim energy that was once drained, the freedom to create lives rooted in authenticity, purpose, and alignment with their true selves. Meanwhile, narcissists who once thrived on invisibility and secrecy are confronted with transparency, exposure, and a world that no longer bends to their whims. Every tactic, every lie, every manipulation is met with clarity and strength, and slowly the control they thought they held begins to crumble. What makes this shift even more powerful is that it's not just external, it's deeply internal. Empaths are transforming their pain into wisdom, their heartbreak into strategy, and their compassion into a force that can influence the world around them without ever needing to harm another. The irony is remarkable. Those who tried to dominate through fear and deceit are now powerless against the very empathy they once dismissed, and what was once seen as vulnerability is now an unstoppable source of influence. In this new era, strength is no longer measured by how much you can control others, but by how firmly you stand in your own truth, how clearly you recognize your value, and how unshakable you become when faced with those who once sought to diminish you. 2026 isn't just a year of change, it's the dawn of a new order, where empaths rise, not with anger, but with undeniable clarity, and where the narcissists finally face the consequences of the choices they made. It's a shift that is long overdue, a power realignment that is as inevitable as it is profound, and a reminder that true strength has always belonged to those who feel deeply, love fiercely, and refuse to settle for anything less than their worth. In 2026, emotional intelligence is no longer just a soft skill, it has become a superpower, and empaths are its undisputed masters. For years, narcissists relied on charm, manipulation, and clever deception to get what they wanted. They thrived in environments where surface-level appearances mattered more than depth, where people could be easily swayed by words rather than actions. But empaths, who have always been finely tuned to the subtle energies around them, are stepping into a new level of awareness, and this heightened sensitivity has become their greatest weapon. Every glance, every tone, every micro-expression carries meaning, and empaths are reading these signs with uncanny accuracy. What was once dismissed as overthinking or hypersensitivity is now a strategic advantage, allowing them to see through the layers of manipulation that narcissists hide behind. Charm no longer blinds them, flattery no longer disarms them. Instead, empaths respond with clarity, calmness, and confidence, effortlessly exposing the motives and patterns that narcissists have relied upon for so long. This is not about aggression or confrontation, it's about presence and perception. By simply staying grounded in their own energy, empaths make the deceptive tactics of narcissists appear clumsy and transparent. The more narcissists try to control, the more obvious their weakness becomes, and empaths are quick to recognize it. Beyond exposure, emotional intelligence gives empaths the ability to navigate complex social and professional situations without being manipulated. They can maintain compassion without sacrificing boundaries, understanding human behavior deeply while refusing to become entangled in toxic games. This shift transforms the dynamic entirely. The narcissist, who once dictated interactions through fear or charm, now finds themselves outmatched by insight and intuition. Empaths, armed with patience, observation, and emotional mastery, are no longer the easy targets of deceit. They are the quiet strategists, the ones who see clearly and act wisely. And the result is profound. As empaths assert themselves with intelligence and awareness, they not only protect themselves, but also inspire others to recognize manipulation and prioritize authenticity. Emotional intelligence becomes a ripple effect, changing relationships, workplaces, and communities, while narcissists struggle to regain influence in a world that increasingly values transparency, empathy, and understanding. By 2026, the lesson is clear. Charm may impress for a moment, but emotional intelligence conquers consistently, and empaths are leading this new era with grace, insight, and unstoppable clarity. Those who once underestimated them are learning, sometimes too late, that deep feeling paired with awareness is a force that cannot be ignored, and that the power of understanding others, truly understanding, has finally found its rightful owners. 2026 is the year karma is no longer just a concept, it's becoming a visible, undeniable force, and narcissists are feeling its full weight. For decades, those who thrived on manipulation, deceit, and selfishness believed they could act without consequence, exploiting the kindness and trust of others while avoiding accountability. But the energy they put out into the world, rooted in toxicity and control, is now circling back with astonishing precision. Meanwhile, empaths, those who have always given without expectation, who have loved fully, forgave deeply, and endured silently, are beginning to see the results of the energy they invested in others. Every act of genuine compassion, every ounce of understanding, every moment of integrity is multiplying, creating a momentum that propels them forward while leaving narcissists struggling to regain footing. It's a natural law in motion. The universe balances itself, and in 2026, that balance is impossible to ignore. The narcissist's lies, manipulation, and betrayal are being exposed in ways they never anticipated, and each attempt to control or diminish others only highlights their failures. At the same time, Empaths rise, not by seeking revenge, not by responding with anger, but by simply living in alignment with their truth and values. They are reclaiming what was lost, building lives filled with purpose, clarity, and meaningful connections. The energy of kindness, once dismissed as weakness, now acts like a magnet, attracting opportunities, people, and situations that resonate with authenticity, while toxic energy is naturally repelled. Karma in action is both subtle and dramatic. Subtle in the quiet confidence of the empath who no longer fears manipulation, dramatic in the unraveling of the narcissist's schemes, which were once considered untouchable. It's a reminder that the universe doesn't operate on favoritism. It operates on energy, on intent, and on actions, and those who have consistently acted with empathy and integrity are now witnessing the rewards. Narcissists, on the other hand, are learning that every deception, every betrayal, every moment they used to control or diminish others carries consequences, often far greater than they anticipated. The rise of empaths and the fall of narcissists are not coincidences. They are a reflection of energy returning in perfect measure. In 2026, it becomes clear the choices we make, the energy we invest, and the intentions behind our actions are far more powerful than we often realize. And for empaths, the world is finally responding in kind, rewarding their unwavering light and exposing the shadows of those who sought to dim it. In 2026, empaths are experiencing a profound spiritual awakening, a shift that is quietly but powerfully changing their lives. For years, empaths have carried a sensitivity that often made them vulnerable to manipulation, especially at the hands of narcissists who thrived on exploiting emotions. But now, that very sensitivity is transforming into spiritual strength. Empaths are connecting with a deeper consciousness, an inner knowing that allows them to navigate life with clarity, intuition, and discernment. This awakening is not about following a specific doctrine or ritual. It's about tuning in to the energy of the universe, trusting instincts, and understanding the hidden forces at play in every interaction. As they align with this heightened awareness, empaths naturally attract abundance, protection, and timing that seems almost divine, creating a life where opportunities, people, and circumstances flow effortlessly into their path. Narcissists, who once relied on manipulation and control, find themselves powerless against this unseen force. No charm, no lies, no attempts at influence can penetrate the armor of spiritual clarity that empaths now embody. What makes this awakening so transformative is that it combines personal empowerment with universal support. Empaths are not just defending themselves, they are stepping into a rhythm where the universe conspires in their favor. Every decision feels aligned, every action guided, and every challenge becomes an opportunity to grow rather than a trap to fall into. The energy they radiate draws positive connections and repels toxicity, making it impossible for manipulative individuals to regain influence. At the same time, this spiritual consciousness deepens self-respect, helping empaths set boundaries that are no longer negotiable and prioritize what truly serves their growth. The awakening also fosters forgiveness, not as weakness, but as liberation, freeing empaths from lingering resentment and allowing them to focus on their path rather than being entangled in the narcissist's chaos. By embracing this spiritual depth, empaths realize they are part of a larger flow, an interconnected energy where intentions, actions, and awareness create tangible outcomes. Narcissists, on the other hand, operate in a reactive world, dependent on control and deception, unable to manipulate the divine timing and protective energy now surrounding empaths. This spiritual awakening is, in essence, a quiet revolution. It shifts the balance of power, turning sensitivity into strength, intuition into insight, and compassion into a force that cannot be undermined. In 2026, empaths are no longer just surviving, they are thriving in alignment with a higher consciousness, proving that when you connect with your true spiritual essence, you become untouchable, unstoppable, and perfectly timed in every aspect of your life. One of the most remarkable transformations unfolding in 2026 is how empaths are turning their past pain into unmatched strength. For years, many empaths carried wounds inflicted by narcissists, wounds that left them questioning their worth, doubting their instincts, and sometimes even blaming themselves for the toxic dynamics they endured. But in this new era, those experiences are no longer sources of weakness. Instead, they have become the foundation of resilience, teaching empaths how to recognize patterns, trust their intuition, and protect their emotional and mental well-being. Every heartbreak, betrayal, and manipulation endured is transformed into a lesson, a tool, and a reminder of the boundaries that must never be crossed again. Healing is no longer a passive process. It has become an active, empowering journey where empaths reclaim their energy, rebuild their confidence, and set standards that safeguard them from future harm. This kind of inner work creates a force field against narcissistic tactics. The lies, guilt trips, and manipulations that once seemed so effective now bounce harmlessly off the armor of self-awareness and discernment that empaths have built. What was once a vulnerability, sensitivity to others' emotions, now becomes a superpower, allowing empaths to connect deeply with those who are authentic while easily identifying those who are not. Healing as strength also manifests in the ability to take control of one's life without seeking revenge or retribution. Empaths are learning that true power is quiet, deliberate, and rooted in self-respect. They respond with clarity instead of chaos, with wisdom instead of impulse, and with calm instead of panic. The emotional turbulence that once gave narcissists leverage is now replaced by grounded confidence and emotional independence. In this way, empaths not only protect themselves, but also model what it means to rise above toxicity with dignity and courage. The ripple effect is profound. As empaths embrace their resilience, they inspire others to recognize their worth, to value their own boundaries, and to understand that pain is not permanent. Strength can emerge from it. By turning suffering into empowerment, empaths reclaim the narrative of their lives, and narcissists who once thought they held control are confronted with a reality they cannot manipulate. Healing is no longer hidden. It is visible in the posture, energy, and unwavering confidence of the empath. In 2026, the lesson is undeniable. Resilience is not born from avoidance or ignorance of pain, but from facing it, understanding it, and using it as a springboard into a life of self-mastery, freedom, and unshakable inner power. Those who once sought to diminish empaths now witness firsthand that the very experiences intended to weaken them have instead forged an unstoppable force. In 2026, one of the most striking changes is the complete collapse of control that narcissists once relied on. For years, they built their sense of power through manipulation, intimidation, and subtle coercion, believing that they could dictate the emotions, choices, and lives of those around them. But the dynamics have shifted dramatically. Empaths who once struggled under the weight of toxic influence are now refusing to play by the old rules. They no longer respond to threats, flattery, or guilt as they once might have. Boundaries that were once porous are now firm and unyielding, and emotional manipulation that previously caused confusion now meets clarity and discernment. The narcissist, confronted with this new reality, begins to realize that their tactics are ineffective. Every attempt to dominate only highlights their desperation and loss of control, revealing weaknesses that were previously invisible to the outside world. This collapse is not sudden chaos, it's the natural consequence of empaths stepping into their personal power. By refusing to react in predictable ways, by staying grounded in their values and self-awareness, empaths neutralize the leverage that narcissists once had. It's a subtle but undeniable shift in energy. Control is no longer a one-way street. The more narcissists try to exert influence, the less impact they have, and the more obvious their vulnerabilities become. What's remarkable is that this transformation requires no aggression from the empath. They are not fighting back with anger or manipulation. Instead, their presence alone, calm, aware, and unshakable, renders the narcissist's strategies powerless. This shift extends beyond personal interactions. In workplaces, friendships, and social circles, empaths are naturally aligning with authenticity, honesty, and integrity, creating environments where deceit and manipulation cannot thrive. The collapse of control is therefore systemic, exposing narcissists' reliance on outdated strategies in a world that now values awareness, intuition, and emotional intelligence. And while narcissists scramble to regain footing, empaths continue to rise, building lives defined not by the attempts of others to control them, but by their own choices, values, and self-respect. 2026 is the year the illusion of dominance crumbles, and what was once feared as an unshakable force is revealed to be fragile and fleeting. The ultimate lesson is clear. Influence built on fear, deceit, and manipulation cannot endure when faced with clarity, resilience, and conscious awareness. Narcissists are learning that control is never truly theirs to claim, and empaths are discovering that true power lies not in domination, but in standing firmly in one's truth and refusing to participate in toxic games. The collapse is not just the end of a cycle, it is the beginning of a new era where awareness, emotional mastery, and integrity define the real rules of influence. It is subtle in the way conversations change, how behaviors are challenged, and how social norms are realigned to reward authenticity and integrity. It is visible in the isolation of narcissists, the emergence of strong empathic leaders, and the increasing prominence of people who act with conscious awareness rather than selfish gain. This social shift also reinforces the personal growth of empaths. When they see the world acknowledging toxic patterns, it validates their experiences, strengthens their confidence, and encourages them to continue setting boundaries and protecting their energy. The combination of personal empowerment and social recognition creates an unstoppable cycle. The more empaths rise and assert their presence, the more society supports accountability, and the more isolated narcissists become. Furthermore, this awakening transcends individual interactions and begins to shape communities, workplaces, and networks as a whole. Toxic behavior becomes less tolerated, social circles evolve to prioritize emotional intelligence and authenticity, and professional environments reward fairness, transparency, and collaboration. Narcissists who once thrived in chaos find fewer opportunities to manipulate and dominate, while empaths gain platforms to influence positively and create meaningful change. By 2026, the lesson is clear. Toxic patterns cannot survive in a society that is conscious, aware, and willing to hold people accountable. Empaths are not only beneficiaries of this awakening, they are catalysts. Their heightened awareness, their ability to navigate emotions, and their resilience act as guides for others, showing that living with integrity and emotional intelligence is not only possible, but increasingly necessary. In essence, social awakening is the external reflection of internal growth. As empaths rise, the world around them shifts, creating a landscape where honesty, empathy, and authenticity become the standard, and manipulation, deceit, and control are exposed and marginalized. Narcissists, for all their cunning and strategy, face the undeniable reality that their social dominance is collapsing. Connections that were once easily influenced are now scrutinized, alliances that were carefully crafted begin to disintegrate, and the influence they once wielded becomes increasingly fragile. Empaths, on the other hand, flourish in this environment, attracting like-minded individuals, building networks based on trust and mutual respect, and creating communities that honor boundaries, transparency, and authenticity. The social awakening of 2026 is not merely a trend, it is a movement, a visible and measurable shift that empowers those who act with awareness and integrity, while holding those who rely on manipulation accountable. It demonstrates that collective consciousness has the power to transform social structures, dismantle toxic hierarchies, and uplift those who have long been undervalued. As narcissists struggle to adapt to this new reality, empaths continue to rise, embodying the truth that social influence is no longer determined by charm, manipulation, or fear. It is determined by authenticity, emotional intelligence, and the courage to stand firmly in one's values. By recognizing toxic patterns and acting consciously, society itself becomes a partner in the empowerment of empaths, leaving narcissists increasingly isolated and powerless in every aspect of life. In 2026, technology has become one of the most powerful tools for social accountability, and empaths are leveraging this shift in ways that are both subtle and transformative. For decades, narcissists thrived in environments where their manipulations could remain hidden, where carefully curated appearances and selective truths allowed them to control perceptions, relationships, and even professional opportunities. But the digital age has introduced unprecedented transparency, and AI-driven tools, along with the ever-watchful presence of social media, are making it increasingly difficult for manipulative behavior to go unnoticed. Every post, every interaction, every subtle attempt at gaslighting or deception can now be traced, documented, and exposed in ways that were unimaginable a few years ago. This technological insight isn't just about surveillance or exposure, it's about empowering individuals, especially empaths, to recognize patterns, protect themselves, and ensure accountability for those who have caused harm. Social media platforms, algorithms, and digital footprints allow behaviors that were once invisible to be scrutinized, validated, and contextualized, revealing consistent patterns of control, dishonesty, and manipulation. AI tools can detect inconsistencies, analyze communication patterns, and even predict potential harmful behavior, creating a landscape where narcissistic strategies are more likely to be recognized and challenged before they escalate. For empaths, this is a game changer. Their natural sensitivity and intuition, when combined with these technological insights, create a kind of digital armor, allowing them to navigate relationships and social dynamics with greater precision, clarity, and confidence. They no longer need to rely solely on gut feelings or past experience. They have data, trends, and concrete evidence supporting their perception of toxic behavior. This dual approach, blending human empathy with technological awareness, strengthens their capacity to protect themselves and assert boundaries in both personal and professional spaces. At the same time, technology exposes the long-term consequences of manipulative behavior for narcissists. Patterns that once seemed isolated or accidental are now connected and visible to a wide audience. Attempts at deception, gaslighting, or character attacks are often captured, documented, and shared in ways that make accountability unavoidable. The narcissist's world, which once relied on secrecy and selective storytelling, now operates under a lens of scrutiny that amplifies the consequences of every unethical act. The empowerment this provides for empaths is twofold. Not only are they able to shield themselves from harm, but they are also able to hold others accountable without resorting to confrontation or aggression. In many ways, technology acts as an impartial witness, validating the experiences of empaths and amplifying the truth in a world that often minimized their perceptions. Beyond personal interactions, this technological insight is reshaping social and professional networks. In workplaces, AI monitoring, digital records, and social transparency make it increasingly difficult for toxic behaviors to influence promotions, decisions, or team dynamics unchecked. In social contexts, platforms provide opportunities for support, exposure of manipulative conduct, and the building of communities that value authenticity and integrity. For empaths, this creates an environment where their natural abilities, emotional awareness, intuition, and empathy are complemented and enhanced by the objective power of technology. They can navigate the world with confidence, knowing that manipulation and deceit are increasingly likely to be revealed and challenged. Furthermore, this technological shift encourages a broader cultural transformation. As the tools for transparency and accountability become more prevalent, society as a whole begins to recognize patterns of toxic behavior and reward authenticity, empathy, and ethical conduct. Empaths, in essence, become leaders not only in emotional intelligence, but also in leveraging technological insight to uphold justice in everyday life. Narcissists, who once relied on secrecy, charm, and manipulation, face a landscape where every action can be tracked, analyzed, and exposed, making their strategies increasingly ineffective. What was once a hidden world of control is now illuminated by digital evidence, social observation, and AI-driven insights, leaving them vulnerable and increasingly isolated. In this way, technology does not replace the empath's inherent strengths, it amplifies them. By combining intuition, emotional intelligence, and the transparency afforded by AI and social media, empaths are creating a new standard of accountability and personal empowerment. 2026 demonstrates that the rise of empathic justice is not only a matter of personal growth or spiritual awakening, but is reinforced by the digital tools that reveal truth, expose manipulation, and level the playing field. Narcissists, no matter how cunning or charming, cannot hide in this era. Every attempt at control or deception is likely to be identified, documented, and countered, while empaths gain clarity, protection, and leverage. The lesson is profound. Technology, when understood and utilized wisely, becomes a powerful ally for those who act with integrity and compassion, exposing the shadows of those who once thrived in secrecy and empowering empaths to claim their rightful power in an increasingly transparent world. In 2026, one of the most transformative changes for empaths is the way their inner work and self-care practices begin to manifest outwardly, creating a magnetic energy that is impossible to ignore. For years, empaths often struggled silently, absorbing the emotional weight of those around them while feeling drained, invisible, or manipulated, especially by narcissists who thrived on exploiting sensitivity and compassion. Yet in this new era, the very practices that nurture the empath's inner world, mindfulness, emotional processing, spiritual alignment, and intentional self-care, begin to radiate outward, forming an aura of strength, balance, and unshakable presence. This glow is not about vanity or superficial confidence. It is the natural byproduct of healing, self-respect, and consistent work on emotional resilience. When an empath invests in their inner world, they cultivate clarity, discernment, and a sense of stability that becomes visible to everyone around them. And it is precisely this visibility that acts as a protective force. Narcissists, who once relied on subtle manipulation, gaslighting, or charm to control empaths, find that their tactics no longer have the same effect. The empath's energy is steady, centered, and intentional, making attempts to provoke, deceive, or dominate increasingly ineffective. In essence, the inner glow acts as an energetic shield, repelling toxicity before it even reaches the empath's emotional core. This impact is not limited to defense, it is also magnetic in a positive sense. People are naturally drawn to those who exude authenticity, confidence, and emotional balance, creating opportunities for meaningful connections, supportive relationships, and shared purpose. Empaths begin to attract allies, mentors, and peers who value integrity, mutual respect, and shared purpose, while narcissists whose energy is based on fear, manipulation, or control are repelled by this strong, aligned presence. Every challenge they endured becomes a stepping stone. Every betrayal a lesson in discernment, and every loss a redirection toward something greater. This transformation is deeply visible in 2026. Empaths are stepping into roles, positions, and opportunities that previously felt out of reach because their energy is aligned, their presence is magnetic, and their clarity of purpose is undeniable. They attract collaborations, partnerships, and relationships that honor their values and reinforce their growth, while narcissists, who once thrived on controlling or undermining them, are increasingly irrelevant in their lives. The comeback also has a spiritual dimension. Empaths are not only navigating the material and social world with mastery, they are attuning to a higher sense of purpose and alignment. They are recognizing that every experience, even those that seemed cruel or unjust, has contributed to their evolution. This awareness brings a sense of peace, resilience, and empowerment that cannot be shaken by external chaos. Narcissists, on the other hand, continue to operate from fear, ego, and manipulation, forces that cannot withstand the calm, centered, and aligned energy of the empowered empath. Another critical element of this comeback is the ability to create boundaries without guilt or fear. For years, empaths struggled with saying no, with asserting limits, and with protecting their energy without feeling selfish. By 2026, they have mastered the art of boundary setting as a form of self-respect, realizing that true power comes from protecting the self while engaging authentically with others. Narcissists' tactics, guilt-tripping, manipulation, and control are rendered ineffective because empaths operate from clarity, awareness, and unwavering self-worth. This comeback is not only personal, but also social. Empaths are influencing communities, workplaces, and social networks by modeling emotional intelligence, integrity, and resilience. Their rise inspires others to recognize toxic patterns, embrace empathy, and prioritize authenticity. In doing so, empaths are creating environments where narcissistic behavior is less tolerated, less influential, and increasingly exposed. The power of the final comeback lies in the combination of internal mastery and external influence. It is not a sudden surge of success. It is a deliberate, ongoing process of reclaiming power, creating alignment, and demonstrating the value of emotional intelligence, resilience, and authenticity. Empaths are not just surviving, they are thriving. Their energy, cultivated through years of self-care, reflection, and inner work, radiates outward, attracting opportunities, people, and experiences that align with their values and purpose. In this way, every act of self-respect and self-awareness becomes a building block for influence, impact, and undeniable power. Finally, the comeback is a testament to the unstoppable nature of growth that emerges from adversity. What narcissists sought to diminish, the empath's sensitivity, compassion, and integrity, is now the source of their ultimate triumph. Heartbreak, manipulation, and emotional pain, once seen as obstacles, have become platforms for empaths to rise higher than ever before, claiming a presence in the world that is authentic, influential, and unstoppable. 2026 is not just the year of recovery, it is the year of transformation, empowerment, and undeniable comeback, proving that the greatest power is born from those who have felt deeply, endured fully, and refused to compromise their truth. The final comeback is more than survival. It is an evolution into mastery, influence, and a life built on integrity, awareness, and purpose that cannot be undermined, manipulated, or shaken. Empaths, once underestimated, are now the architects of their own destiny, and nothing, no manipulation, no betrayal, no toxic influence can diminish the force they have become. The outer impact of this inner work extends across personal and professional spheres. In workplaces, empaths who invest in self-care and emotional awareness are seen as calm, decisive, and trustworthy, naturally influencing decisions and environments without resorting to aggression or competition. In friendships and family dynamics, empaths set clear boundaries, model emotional intelligence, and demonstrate resilience, which encourages healthy interactions and discourages manipulation. The energy they radiate acts as both a magnet for positivity and a barrier against toxicity. What makes this transformation profound is that it is sustainable. Unlike reactive defense mechanisms that drain energy and create cycles of conflict, the energy generated by inner work is self-replenishing. Meditation, reflection, self-compassion, and conscious alignment with values continuously reinforce the empath's strength, ensuring that narcissistic attacks lose potency over time. Moreover, this glow is a reflection of authenticity. It signals to the world that the empath is no longer willing to compromise their values, ignore red flags, or allow others to dictate their emotional state. Narcissists, who depend on confusion, doubt, and control, encounter a presence that cannot be undermined by charm, lies, or intimidation. This shift is both subtle and powerful. Subtle in that the empath does not need to actively confront or expose the narcissist, yet powerful because the very act of standing in their own light diminishes the influence of those who previously held control. Over time, this energy changes the dynamics of interactions entirely. The narcissist becomes increasingly isolated, their strategies ineffective, and their influence weakened, while the empath thrives in an environment that supports growth, clarity, and integrity. The inner glow also has a ripple effect, influencing others in ways that extend far beyond the empath's immediate circle. Witnessing someone who is grounded, self-aware, and emotionally resilient inspires others to pursue similar practices, prioritize self-care, and establish boundaries in their own lives. This creates a community of awareness, where empathy, integrity, and emotional intelligence are valued, and toxic behaviors are increasingly exposed and marginalized. In this way, the outer impact is not merely protective or magnetic, it is transformative. It redefines relationships, social circles, and even professional hierarchies, establishing a new standard where authenticity and inner alignment hold more power than manipulation, deception, or dominance. By 2026, the lesson is undeniable. The work an empath invests in themselves does not remain internal. It shapes their external reality in profound and lasting ways. Every meditation, reflection, act of self-love, and boundary set contributes to a radiance that others can feel, creating environments where they are empowered and those who seek to manipulate them are naturally kept at a distance. Narcissists, for all their cunning and strategy, are unable to penetrate this energy, and the empath's life becomes a testament to the power of inner work manifesting outwardly. In essence, self-care and emotional alignment are not indulgences. They are strategic, transformative practices that protect, empower, and magnetize, allowing empaths to thrive in every area of life while rendering toxic attacks obsolete. The glow within becomes the force that reshapes everything outside, proving that the most powerful influence starts from the inside and radiates endlessly outward. 2026 is shaping up to be a pivotal year, one that will be remembered not just for the collapse of narcissistic control or the social awakening around toxic patterns, but for the ultimate resurgence of empaths who have long endured, suffered, and grown in ways few can truly comprehend. For years, empaths have navigated a world that often misunderstood them, that labeled sensitivity as weakness and compassion as naivety. They were targeted by narcissists who thrived on charm, deception, and the exploitation of emotional generosity. They endured heartbreaks, betrayals, and manipulations that left scars that often felt permanent and invisible to the outside world. But in 2026, these scars are no longer a burden. They are the very foundation of an extraordinary comeback. What was once considered vulnerability has now become the source of undeniable strength, the bedrock upon which empaths are constructing lives of purpose, influence, and power. This comeback is not superficial, nor is it born of revenge or retaliation. It is deep, authentic, and transformational. Empaths are learning to take every experience of pain, every moment of manipulation, and every heartbreak as a lesson, tools to sharpen their awareness, deepen their intuition, and refine the boundaries that protect their energy and their spirit. Every time a narcissist attempted to undermine them, every time a manipulative strategy threatened their emotional stability, empaths absorbed the lesson and adapted. By 2026, these adaptations have matured into a level of resilience and mastery that leaves former abusers powerless in comparison. The final comeback is as much about internal transformation as it is about external outcomes. Empaths have learned to reclaim control of their own narratives, no longer allowing someone else's perception or manipulation to define their self-worth. Where once they might have doubted themselves, now they trust their intuition with unwavering certainty. Where once they might have apologized for feeling deeply, now they honor their emotions as a source of insight and guidance. This internal alignment radiates outward, influencing relationships, professional dynamics, and social circles in profound ways. Empaths who were once marginalized or overlooked are now being recognized for their clarity, intelligence, and integrity. Their insights carry weight, their presence commands respect, and their decisions are informed by a combination of experience, awareness, and intuition that makes them unstoppable in any environment. The comeback is also about reclaiming energy and purpose. Heartbreak, manipulation, and emotional abuse are transformed into platforms for influence. Empaths are channeling what was once used against them into initiatives, communities, and personal growth that create tangible impact. They are turning experiences of suffering into lessons that guide others, inspiring people to recognize their own worth, protect their boundaries, and cultivate emotional intelligence.